Hey guys, in this video we're going to be discussing how to use the front foot in a southpaw orthodox matchup with Lomachenko versus Lopez. Now this fight didn't really get the acclaim that it deserved. I think that the fight was much better than people are giving it credit for because everyone's so upset about who won and, all that sad stuff. But we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that Lomachenko can do a little bit earlier in the fight and kind of discuss what he wasn't doing as we go through. Now, the first thing I want to point out is Lomachenko has no problem getting to the front foot here. And this is going to be the position that allows him to set up his straight left hand, his right cross, his right hook, his straight left hand to the body as well as to the head. And early in the fight, we noticed that Lomachenko was able to get into this position, but he was reluctant to actually throw any punches from it, as he was waiting a lot of times for Teofimo Lopez's right hand, only exiting the position to be pushed off of his line as he continues to be defensive. Now, in the next clip, again, getting to the front foot, no problem, and even inviting an opportunity for Teofimo Lopez to throw a punch at him. Inviting an opportunity to allow Teofimo Lopez to throw a punch at him when he gets to the front foot. Again, this is the same position that he would wind up being if he were to throw a straight left hand to the body or to the head if he were slipping Teofimo Lopez's jab. Also, pointing out the idea that when he exits this position after slipping this punch, he is also in a similar position that he would be in if he were throwing a right hook or a right cross as he exits this position, returning his weight to the back foot. Now, another problem that he suffered in this fight was that not only was he not making use of the front foot, and not countering, not making it to that position, not exiting that position with attacks, but when the counters were coming, when the right hand did come from Teofimo Lopez, after all that time waiting, he didn't recognize that it was coming. He hadn't seen it coming before. He hadn't had a way to feint and probe and bait the attack out. So when Teofimo Lopez finally threw it, Lomachenko wasn't ready to counter. He wasn't ready to make an attack against that position. And that positional change from Teofimo Lopez. Again, another problem with not controlling your opponent and feinting and probing, and with the idea that Lomachenko wasn't making the best out of getting to the front foot. He wasn't able to make any offense out of it. Now, later on in the fight, there were a lot of opportunities and a lot of differences in the fight. And we're going to take a look at those right now. So, in this clip, as we can see, very similarly to the beginning of the fight, Lomachenko makes his way to the front foot here. Now, all his weight is being driven on this right leg right now, and he's going to exit that position again as he brings his weight to the back foot, as he throws that right hand as a cross. He kind of pendulum steps as well, and it sinks his weight forward, but he's able to use that front foot position here to set that right cross up and land a pretty decent power shot against Teofimo Lopez, as Teofimo Lopez sits on the back foot, waiting, not wanting to expose his right hand, but not realizing he's not in a position, or he's actually in a position that Lomachenko can offend him and land actual attacks against him. So Lomachenko using much better use of that front foot position when he's not being controlled by Teofimo Lopez. Again, Teofimo Lopez usually in this fight looks to sit on the back foot when Lomachenko would come forward and then wait to pressure him himself. But using excellent use of the cross here, getting to the front foot. And the more you do this, the more you'll be able to layer your attacks, as this position will be able to open up other attacks for you as well. Now here, Lomachenko defending the front foot, getting to the front foot, Teofimo Lopez throws a punch at him, and then he exits that position with the cross as well. Excellent work from Lomachenko in a much better use, again, of that front foot position, defending the position, and then again exiting that position with the cross, using excellent body mechanics to deliver a very solid blow to Teofimo Lopez. And what do we notice about both of these clips? Both of them, after the cross comes, are enough to bait the right hand from Teofimo Lopez, forcing him to exit the back foot position because now he realizes that Lomachenko can catch him. Lomachenko can find him. Also being able to block both of those shots. So again, it's another one of those things that Lomachenko can do in the next fight to really improve on the success that he had in this one. In a way to kind of, as people are saying, get started or get going sooner. Now, in this clip, another simple clip of Lomachenko making it to the front foot here, and then back foot, and then looking to get to the front foot again, and then get to that position with the straight left hand to the body. Now, again, the idea here isn't as clear, but him being able to get to the front foot as he's checking here, as he moves to the front foot there to see, hey, is Teofimo Lopez controlling me? Is he going to use his lead hand to jab at me? Is he going to punch at me? Is he looking to set something up when I slip here? No, he's not. So then he uses his lead hand to try to control Teofimo Lopez and push him to the back foot. But now he knows that the front foot is open. So when he moves to that position, slipping to the front foot, he does it with the left hand to the body as well because he knows that position is open after having tested it just a second earlier to see if that was going to trigger Lopez to get into position to throw a punch. But another use, again, of the front foot that he wasn't doing earlier in the fight, again, when he would slip to the front foot here, and he's not throwing a straight left hand to the body, right? And then when he exits the positions, he's not throwing that right cross like he does much later in the fight. And then the last way to use it, so we've shown him entering the line with the jab, or entering the line with the left hand to the body, and we also showed him exiting the line with the right cross. Now, so that's how you get into the position with the punch. That's how you exit the position with the punch. And now Lomachenko is going to show you how to stay in the position and punch. As you see, he enters the position, and then he uses his left hand to probe at his opponent. Now, this is a punch, but it is also a way to set up his next weight transition and ask Teofimo Lopez a question, as this punch does not actually take any of his line. It doesn't take any of his body mechanics or him. It doesn't stop him from being able to transition his weight into his next attack, or rather bring his weight back from the front foot to the back foot, which would naturally be through his right hook. However, what I do want to point out is that slipping to the front foot, to the back foot, testing the zone, seeing if it's open, using this front foot position to push him to this back foot, and then if he doesn't want to move, catching him with that cross, or not cross, Wing Chun, probing punch. But using that punch while he's already on the front foot. And that's a very important idea, that not only can you punch and attack your opponent as you move into the front foot, here, with the left hand to the body, you can punch and attack your opponent from the front foot as you move out of that position with the right cross, but you can also punch and offend your opponent while you're already in this position on the front foot. So multiple ways that you can feint, probe, and control and layer your attacks against your opponent on the front foot. As a southpaw, But with, how do you want to say it? I guess with much more versatility than a lot of people really understand. That it's not just moving into the punch and throwing those punches with all your power, rather, but moving into those positions so that you can move out of them freely as well, while setting up other attacks. But as you can see, Loma can use all those positions, and he can punch moving into them, moving out of them, and while in them. Just really, really actually I don't want to say anything not bad about Teofimo Lopez, but just so much more dynamic of an athlete than I think that we really got to see in the course of this fight. And while I do think that Teofimo Lopez is a fantastic athlete, if we notice, at the end of each of these right hands, when he gets finally baited out of his positions, he winds up a little bit out of position. And let's see if we find the right ones. Here we go. And he's not in a position after making his counter to really counter or offend or defend himself. And that's one of the really interesting dynamics between the two, Lopez and Lomachenko, is that while Lomachenko maybe didn't get to put it on in full display in this fight, on average, Lomachenko's technique is probably 3 or 4 times as good as Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo Lopez, while having excellent 1-2s and abilities to counter and throw his hard right hands and counter, really snappy. The fact that he's never in position after and he falls off balance after his first big weight transition means that he's going to be vulnerable. And I expect that if Lomachenko in the rematch can have much more sequences like the ones shown here, and these also on the front foot, feinting and probing, right? Not just punching with his, as BT Sport called it, non-punching activity. I think I call it on my channel, we call it an active guard. And as we see that there's a huge difference in the types of non-punching activity, right? As Lomachenko's non-punching activity early in the fight was slipping to the front foot, but not being able to make anything out of it. And now his slipping to the front foot and then also feinting his lead hand and feinting his left hand, feinting his lead hand, probing, asking Lopez questions, but getting more done with his non-punching activity. So in my channel, we like to call it an active guard, constantly changing positions and using what Sugar Ray Robinson called the most important technique in boxing, the shoulder feint. And as you can see, Lomachenko using an excellent rhythm for the shoulder feint, threatening with his left hand, threatening with his right hand, threatening with his left hand, threatening with his right hand, pull countering with his left hand after all of that. An incredible sequence of events. And one that I don't think that Teofimo Lopez is ready to, and I know how stupid to say after he just whooped Lomachenko's butt, right? And granted, if you talk about it a little bit, the rounds that Lomachenko won were much more, I don't know. It's interesting because all the rounds I thought were pretty close. Well, I don't want to talk about score too much. But it did feel like the ones that Lomachenko won were more dynamic and the ones that Lopez won were more boring. But I don't think that meant that they were super landslides in either way. But anyway, there's definitely a difference in their technique and their ability to transition and change positions. And the way that Lomachenko fought in the first half of the fight, not really testing or feinting or probing, and not forcing Teofimo Lopez off his line, didn't allow him to take advantage of how much better his technique is than Teofimo Lopez, because Teofimo Lopez was able to control the fight with only 1 or 2 weight transitions for most of the fight, in spite of the fact that he and in spite of the fact that he's not close to the level of athlete that Lomachenko is. I mean, he's a very good athlete. He's very talented. But the fact that he's not, but the fact that, wait, what am I saying? The fact that Lomachenko was not the one in control of the weight transitions, the feinting and probing, he had no way to control Teofimo Lopez's really, really good, excellent 1-2. And without control of that 1-2, it's not going to allow him to be on the line. So without being able to threaten Lopez's position with attacks like this, right, being on the front foot, and this doesn't make Teofimo Lopez change positions. So you have to find a way. So attacking him with that straight left hand, or threatening his position as you get to the front foot here, right? Maybe you didn't want to shoot the straight left hand. You throw the right cross instead. But you have to be able to threaten his position and force him off his line and force him in a position where he's compromising his own technique, because at the highest level, it's not enough just to be a good fighter. You have to have excellent technique as well. And Teofimo Lopez definitely showed that if you fight him in his 1 and 2 weight transition pace, that he's going to kick your butt, probably no matter who you are, because he hits so hard. But in the second half, we got to see that Lomachenko was able to feint and probe and keep him off his line, and bait out his attacks and bait out his weight transitions and get him off balance and walk him into many more shots with simple things like this, feinting and probing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning about any of these types of techniques, transitioning your weight, changing positions, controlling your opponent, or any of these concepts, or more importantly, how all of these concepts tie in together without breaking any of the other rules, check out my Patreon. It's $20 a month, $20 to sign up, and it's all personalized coaching, and hopefully some Zoom sessions too. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks guys.